So thank you for joining, everyone. I am Evrim from the SDGIA team in UNDP. I'm the project manager, and I will be giving some information before our webinar starts. Greetings from Turkey, Ankara, let me say first. Today we are gathered here in this webinar to introduce SDG Impact Accelerator partners and our accelerator program. Before getting started, let me share the agenda with you. As we have shared before the program, we will be having some introductory remarks from our partners, starting with the Turkish Ministry of Foreign Affairs, followed by UNDP Country Office Turkey, and then UN Technology Bank. And after that, we will be also receiving the remarks of Bangladesh government authorities and same as well from Uganda. So after that, in our agenda, we have an accelerator information going to be delivered by our accelerator team as a part of the SDGIA team. And following this, we will move on to the question and answer session, where you can freely pose your questions regarding the accelerator program. And before getting on with our agenda items, I'd like to also share some practical information, which is that when you have a question to pose, we would ask you to use your question and answers button. And through this button, you can pose your questions and we will be receiving and answering them. And if you have other remarks rather than questions, then you can use our chat button, and we can receive your remarks through there as well. Thank you for your patience listening to me. And I would now like to give the floor to the representative of the Turkish Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ms. Gülseren Çelik.
Everyone, thank you very much. Allow me to warmly welcome everyone on behalf of the Turkish Ministry of Foreign Affairs to our webinar on SDGI's second call, in particular startups from around the world who have joined us. The buzz and the response to our second global call has been most exciting. We have received, as of yesterday, nearly 1,000 applications from around the world, which has been most humbling. And we have 5 more days to go. A few words why the Turkish Ministry of Foreign Affairs established and is leading the SDGIA. For the implementation of the 2030 agenda, finding new ways of working in multi-stakeholder partnerships that mobilize and share knowledge, financial resources, and technology has become crucial. With this in view, Turkey established the SDGIA in collaboration with UNDP Turkey. The SDGIA not only reflects the Turkish government's humanitarian and enterprising foreign policy, but it also demonstrates our dedication to advocating equal opportunities for everyone. The program aims to receive support from public and private sectors for the innovative solutions developed by startups with the overarching aim of leaving no one behind, particularly the refugees as one of the most vulnerable groups. Turkey, with 4 million Syrians and others under its protection, is host to the largest refugee population in the world. For this reason, in the first phase, we focused on improving the refugees' access to basic services and livelihoods opportunities through digital ID solutions and water and sanitation solutions through reinvented toilets that can function without sewage system in Turkey. We implemented this phase with our partners, World Food Programme, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Qatar Fund for Development, Eczacıbaşı Holding and Limak Investment from the Turkish private sector. For the second call, the Turkish government has allocated $1 million. It is implemented by MFA, Turkey, UNDP Turkey, and UN Technology Bank for LDCs, which we host in Turkey, in partnership and with the valuable support of Bangladesh and Uganda governments. Like Turkey, they are both host to large refugee populations. Our main partners in Bangladesh is the Ministry of ICT, Startup Bangladesh, and in Uganda, the Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation, who have truly taken ownership of the program. The challenges we chose together with them, financial inclusion in Bangladesh and digital and agriculture in Uganda, are very much aligned with the SDGs. We are looking forward to the startups, your groundbreaking solutions. Before I conclude, allow me to thank our accelerator team, Ejent Mehmet, and our UNDP team, Evrim and Ebru, for their very dedicated work. Last but not least, allow me to thank Station Dhaka and Musadak Bey in particular for hosting our webinar today, which is very much appreciated. With the global pandemic, it has been testing but also interesting times. We have witnessed once more human resourcefulness in overcoming obstacle. Now is the moment not only to build back better, but to build forward to a new world that we can create together. I wish all startups, entrepreneurs who have applied to our second call, good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Çelik. And I would now like to give the floor to Ms. Alacıcı, Seher Alacıcı from UNDP Turkey Country Office, the Assistant Resident Representative. Ms. Alacıcı, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Evrim. Allow me to welcome you on behalf of UNDP. We are really very excited to be a part of this rich platform and meet you in person as our potential partners and startups in the scope of SDGIA Impact Accelerator Phase 2 program. I have just been informed that approximately 1,000 startups entrepreneurs around the world apply to our program, and I'm thankful for your extended interest and support to our program. While taking our responsibility of today's development challenges and serving for the Sustainable Development Goals, UNDP has adopted a new strategy. We call it as Next Generation UNDP, and we focus on tailoring each and every work to fit the needs of the countries as well as the communities served, and to ensure that we left no one behind. The SDG Impact Accelerator program is an excellent example of this new approach, and among UNDP's many responses to the complex challenges, convening a platform as such together with our private and public sector partners, and with a specific focus on empowering system entrepreneurs and innovators, we believe that we are providing an impact at scale. And SDG Impact Accelerator Initiative, as Gülseren Hanım just in detail mentioned, started in 2018. And after a successful implementation of the first call through the partnership of Turkish Ministry of Foreign Affairs and our other private sector and public partners, including Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Qatar Fund, and leading private sector enterprises, including Eczacıbaşı Foundation and Limak Foundation, we have once again put our efforts to push the boundaries and launching another call for startups to find innovative and inspiring solutions and lead this to impact at other locations around the world. Namely, in this program, we are working closely with Bangladesh and Uganda authorities. In this run, we are leading the program together with our, again, valuable partners, Turkish Ministry of Foreign Affairs and United Nations Technology Bank for LDCs, besides with government institutions and the UNDP country offices in Bangladesh and Uganda. I believe that this is an excellent opportunity and a great opportunity for startups who would like to be a part of this global network that continues supporting them as they work towards the Sustainable Development Goals. I believe that along with the mentorship of UNDP, UN Technology Bank, government institutions, financial and technology experts, and global investors, the teams will be able to create impact in the world and impact the ecosystem in the selected 2 countries. I'm thankful for your great interest again to our call, to our webinar. And I say that let's act together to inspire more innovative and impact for a better world. Thank you very much again. Evrim, over to you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Alacici. I would like to now give the floor to Mr. Joshua Setipa, UNTB for LDC's Managing Director. Mr. Setipa, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Evrim. Let me also start by wishing everyone a safe and happy 2021. I think this is the first time that we meet in this format this year. For the Technology Bank, as we have noted in previous occasions, the SDGIA Impact Accelerator Program is a very good entry point for us in initiating support for LDCs on innovation. And we are excited that we finally reached this point where we are now soliciting expressions of interest from startups across the LDCs in particular, because this will also give us a very good sense of what the level of interest, also what the level of capacity is in the LDCs. It will also help us get a better sense of what the landscape looks like, but also it will also help us identify potential partners for networks, not just within the LDCs, but also with other countries that will have expressed interest in this. Over the last week and a half, I have spoken to over 25 LDC ambassadors. I have a number of other meetings scheduled today for the rest of the week. By the end of next week, I would have spoken to all the 46 or 45 at least ambassadors of the LDCs. And my message to them has been the SDG Impact Accelerator Program is up and running. It is very important that we encourage as many as possible to express, to sign up, so that we can be able to get a sense of where and what capacities are in the LDCs. There's a lot of goodwill in the system. There's a number of companies in other non-LDC countries that are looking to use this to build networks that will help us enhance the capacity in the LDCs. Another important consideration for the Technology Bank is that this project is a pilot that will help us launch a bigger innovation support program. The plan is that with the lessons we'll learn from this, we're going to expand this model to other LDC countries in different technology areas, public health, and all the other challenges that the LDCs are looking at. So we are very much keen to see how this unfolds, and very much engaged in making sure that every single potential innovator in the LDCs is aware of this call and that they actually do submit. We would rather have a problem of having oversubscription than having less startups join the call. So we'll continue to do our part to make sure that the message gets through. And we are also very grateful for the hard work that has been put into ensuring that we get to the stage so far. The work that Avril is doing and the colleagues within the project implementation unit is very important, and we'll continue to support that from the Technology Bank perspective, as we're expecting more resources, institutional resources in the coming months. We'll be able to devote additional resources to the project to make sure that it is implemented as we plan. Another key issue that I'd like to conclude with is that in January 2022 in Qatar will be the 5th UN Conference for LDCs. This is where the development community and the entire UN system is going to consider strategies for supporting the LDCs for the next 10 years. The last one was in Istanbul, and that led to the birth of the Technology Bank. So next year, January, is a big event for the Technology Bank, because that's where we have to demonstrate that not only was the bank created as LDCs requested, but that it has actually been effective in driving transformational impact in the LDCs. One of the things that we will highlight on that occasion will be the results from this program. So we are very much invested in making sure that we have a positive story to tell in Qatar next year, but also we have a demonstrable impact that we can showcase and then be able to use that platform to launch a bigger program that will cover more countries drawing from these lessons. So with these few remarks, let me once again thank you for the work that has been done, and we are ready to support the next phase of this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Setipa. Now I would like to give the floor to Ms. Tina Jabin, the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of Startup Bangladesh. The floor is yours, Ms. Jabin.
Thank you so much, Evren. First of all, thank you for arranging this webinar. I would like to extend my welcome and greetings from the ICT Division, Government of Bangladesh, and also from Startup Bangladesh Limited, which is the first and only venture capital fund sponsored by the Government of Bangladesh, with an initial $65 million of allocation. A very gracious kind of a gift to the startup community from our Honorable Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina. This year, we are celebrating the 50th year of independence for Bangladesh, and also the 100-year birth anniversary of the father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and we are commemorating it as Mujib Borsho. So also, very warm welcome from Bangladesh and from the ICT Division. We are celebrating this couple of big milestones. We are extremely happy to be partnering with SDGIA Accelerator Phase 2. In Phase 1 from ICT Division, A2I Aspire to Innovate was the partner, and this year, we are expanding it to Startup Bangladesh Limited. So as you know that, in Bangladesh, startup ecosystem is pretty new. Probably a lot of activities happening in last 5 years, which is really ignited by the government's initiative, such as Startup Bangladesh. We started with a grant platform, which was called IDEA, Innovation Design Entrepreneurship Academy. And obviously A2I Aspire to Innovate was already there. But in last 5 years, there has been a huge level of activity, and from about less than 300 startups, now we are about 2,500 active startups. From Startup Bangladesh side, what we would like to commit to in this initiative is that we definitely want to be a partner who is going to give all kinds of support to the startups who are going to come through this program. Can be in-kind support, and also possible equity investors, specifically for the startups who are domiciled in Bangladesh. I would like to also thank UNDP, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Turkey, all the distinguished the dignitaries from Uganda, and also UN Tech Bank, because all together we are going to not only make this program successful, bring all our convergence of the startups, convergence of the key stakeholders in the startup ecosystem, but also to find solutions to real problems, which is going to transform lives, which is going to help us to reach the SDGs. And in Bangladesh, the startups have been extremely impactful, powerful in taking forward the agenda of Digital Bangladesh to the last mile clients. During our lockdown in the last 8 months, specifically in the first few months of the lockdown, startups working in e-commerce, providing essential and crucial services to the citizens, they have been extremely critical and brought, like all the necessary, not just like groceries and stuff, but also medications, telemedicines, education startups, things like that. So, startups have been exceedingly very, very important in Bangladesh ecosystem, economic and social fabric. We have generated almost 1.5 million jobs, direct, indirect. We have supported close to 2 million, micro entrepreneurs through our through startups such as ShopUp and Sheba XYZ, Chaldal, and things like that, Pathao, ride-sharing platforms. So the government is also seeing that. The government understands that in order for the country to from middle-income country to become a developed country, and also to accomplish the SDGs, we need to use technology as the thrust factor, and startups are going to be in the forefront of that. And for that reason, the ICT division during our COVID time, which is still continuing, we have come up with the post-COVID-19 ICT roadmap. And in those verticals, such as digital commerce, fintech, educations, agri-tech, in every single verticals, we have about 14 of them. Startups are inserted, and everywhere we are going to use startups so that we can use the technology and reach out, scale it up, and reach to the last mile clients. So from that perspective, we are very much focused, and we look forward to being an active and contributing partner in this platform, and not just stop here, but continue this relationship going forward. From Startup Bangladesh Limited, I would like to extend our personal commitment that we would like to partner with UNDP and also UN Tech Bank and any other agencies who are working in the ecosystem. We are focusing right now in fintech and SDGIA for this. And on that regards, fintech is a very, very important part of our economic development plan. Right now, from the ICT division, we are working on an interoperable digital transaction platforms, which is an aggregator platforms, which will bring in, the banks and the vendors and the e-commerce vendors, the unbanked, the MFS, everybody. Right now, it's in a pilot phase, and we are hoping to roll out the first phase middle of this year. So that will be a transformational, revolutionary platform for Bangladesh. And I do look forward to collaborating with all of you guys. My special thank to our very dear friend here from the Embassy of Turkey, Honorable Ambassador Mustafa Turan, who is very dynamic, extremely engaged with the startup community here. I also want to thank our ICT State Minister. We call him the guardian angel of the startup ecosystem, Mr. Zunaid Ahmed Polo, a member of the parliament, and a special thanks to our ICT National Advisor, Mr. Shajik Wajidjor. So with that, I would like to stop here, and I would like to encourage all our startups who are with us to really, share your ideas, submit your ideas, and we would like to work together. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bean. Now I would very rapidly give the floor to Mr. Maxwell Otimonapa from Uganda Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Evrim. I salute distinguished attendees of this very important webinar. I speak on behalf of the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, which is very honored to be a partner in implementing these very, very good initiative. We believe that this supports our aspiration of leveraging the entire chain of research and innovation, right from ideation to the market, so that innovation, research, and science can be able to use as a tool for addressing societal problems and also empowering the community. So I am SDG Impact Accelerator is one of those that we believe is also a very strategic tool that can enable us to achieve this. Over the last few years, the startup community in Uganda has started coalescing into a very dynamic entrepreneurial team, and we think that I have really seen a few of them popping up, and I believe that this is one of the opportunities that we can use again to help them further their aspirations, particularly because our ministry as the Ministry of Science, Technology, Innovation is responsible for coordinating anything to do with innovation, anything to do with research. So we take this opportunity very, very seriously. And also it is premised on our partnership with the UN Technology Bank that has been very gracious in partnering with us in order to support the development of science, technology, and innovation in Uganda. I also need to say this, that it is also very opportune because not too long ago, the cabinet of Uganda tasked the ministry to develop innovative strategies of how SDGs can achieve. This is a drop of water in the ocean, but it's very important because it addresses a very critical priority area, that is agriculture, which is a very key economic sector in the country. And moreover, recently we underwent another cycle of planning, and within the National Developing Planning Framework, which is the third one in a series that we are implementing up to the year 2040, besides, of course, leveraging indicating innovation, technology, development, and transfer as a program area, agriculture stands very high. We have a dedicated program on agro-industrialization. And within that, we think that if we can enhance digital agriculture, it can be able to hasten the achievement of certain very key objectives. So again, this underscores the importance of this approach of impact acceleration. It has already been highlighted that Uganda is one of the key refugee hosting communities in the world. And of course, we know that the primary economic activity of this refugee community and also the host community is predominantly agriculture. Our thought is that if we can get this right, then we can be able to empower not only the refugees themselves, but also the host community. So all this is to us is a very useful tool. And as I conclude, I still want to underscore the fact that the partnership that we have with the UN Technology Bank is what has eventually brought us to the realm, also interfacing with the Turkish government through the Minister of Foreign Affairs, as well as the UNDP Turkey, whom I need to very much thank. And I do believe that within this remaining time, we should still be able to elicit a lot of response from the entrepreneurial and the research and innovation community of Uganda. So for me, I look forward to a very fruitful partnership that will bear fruit in terms of coming up with an approach that will develop solutions to problems that is faced by the refugee and the refugee hosting community. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Onapa, for your remarks. I believe we have come to the end of the introductory remarks, a little bit, of course, exceeding the time that we have allocated, but thanks to the technical, issues, we do not have any technical glitches, so we're running it very well with the support of Station Dhaka. And now we can move to the accelerator program information. And I would like to give the floor to our accelerator leads, Ece and Mehmet. The floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, great. Mehmet is here too. So this is Ece. I will first start and then give the floor to Mehmet for further details. We have been working on this program design for months now, and it's really exciting to be here presenting today. I'm the co-founder of the first incubation center in Turkey and have been working with various accelerator programs for over 10 years now. And I would like to start with sharing how delighted I am to be part of this global and unique initiative. And thank you for joining our webinar here today. We prepared a short presentation with the basic information. I will share some of the details, then give the floor to Mehmet, as I said. And in the meantime, you can continue asking your questions. We already replied some of them, and also we will be replying them after our presentation. And I guess you will find the answers to your questions maybe in our presentation too. Can we start our presentation? Great. Thank you, Ebru. Okay. This year, as you know, we have opened 2 calls and on 2 extremely important topics and with great partner countries. Gülseren Hanım already shared the number of applications we have received, and I would like to share the number of countries that we received the applications from. We received applications from 68 countries. While planning the SDGIA program, we always dreamt of a global program which connects people from all around the world. And today we are happy to announce that we have reached our goal, and we are still expecting applications. So we believe that number of countries will increase until the end of application period. I would like to give a brief information about who can apply for the call. Although our partner countries are Bangladesh and Uganda, both our calls are global calls. One of the frequently asked questions is whether startups out of Bangladesh and Uganda can apply. Definitely, the answer is definitely yes. And as I said, we already received from 68 different countries. And this is our goal, to reach as many countries as we can. Our partner countries will be the countries that you implement your solution. So you don't have to be living there or a resident there. When you're evaluating the calls, our first checkpoint is relevance to the calls. So if you're working on a fintech solution, which will enable financial inclusion, you may apply for our Bangladesh call. Or if you are working on an agri-tech solution, you can apply for our Uganda call. We are looking for innovative solutions with impact potential. Innovation and impact are equally important for us. And we expect the applicants to have at least the minimum viable product ready by the time they apply. So one of the questions that we receive here is, I have a product ready, can I still apply? So I should say yes, the further developed product is even better for the program. So most of the accelerators target the established startups and to be founders of startups and teams. As SDG Impact Accelerator, we still target these 2 groups, of course, but we are not limited to these. Technology developers who are working on the field but would commercialize through IP transfer, teams from R&D institutes and universities with relevant technology to commercialize, and NGOs who want to test social business models inside their organizations or build spin-offs can also apply for our program. Our applications are still open. If you haven't already applied, you can apply until January 31st, midnight, Istanbul time. We will be evaluating the applications during February and finalize the evaluation and share the accepted applicants during the first week of March. We will have our pre-acceleration period for 4 weeks, which will be followed by acceleration period starting in May 13th. One of the other mostly asked questions is whether the startups need to locate to Bangladesh or Uganda for the pre-acceleration and acceleration programs. The answer is no. Most of the program will be online, and our language of the program is English. So you can be anywhere in the world and join our program. We give high importance to field visits. Last year, field visits was in the core of our program, and we really want to replicate it this year, because startups can understand the real need when they contact the end user. We will shape our plans for field visits during the acceleration program according to COVID-19 situation and whether we can travel. But still, this doesn't mean relocating, but it will be a limited time field visit. As you have already met our program partners, implementation is the period that the selected successful teams implement their solution in Bangladesh and Uganda with the support of these great global and local partners that you already met. This is all from me for now. I would like to give the floor to Mehmet to share the rest of our presentations, and then we will continue with the Q&A.
Thank you, Ece. Hello, everyone. This is Mehmet from the SDGI Accelerator team. I'm going to talk a little about, I'll start with the major benefits of joining this program, the benefits for startups. Obviously, as you can see from the attendance as well, it's a very global network, including both UN organizations and other institutions and foundations as well. You can find more about which foundations these are from our website as well. So we're with this global network, we're ready to support your impact in the world, not only in these two countries, but around the world as well. But obviously, you know, the first step is to start in Bangladesh and Uganda. Coming to mentorship, we'll have both mentors and subject matter experts, depending on your specific needs, from UNDP, UN Technology Bank, other government institutions, our local partners, and subject matter experts as well as technology experts, and there will be investors too. Now, coming to the financial support, as you know, if you've looked at the details of the program, there's possibility of grant for the teams who are accepted to our accelerator program, and this is $15,000 equity-free grants. But on top of this, there were also questions about if whether, you know, the needs of the startup is larger than this amount, whether you could apply. You can definitely do so, because for the finalists at the end of the accelerator program, we have possibility of additional grants or impact investment as well. The exact amount of that is not determined yet, but this will be designed to support your implementation in our local countries. So if your needs are larger than this, please go ahead and apply anyway. There will be additional support later on if you're selected as well. Now, the next part is obviously, if you can come back, is the implementation support in Uganda and Bangladesh. This is very critical for us because it's a priority for us to have these ideas, these projects to be implemented in Uganda and Bangladesh as soon as possible. And this is scheduled from July to October, the implementation phase. So we'll be giving you implementation support in these countries as well. And finally, like I said before, there's a possibility of additional impact investments specifically for implementation. Yes, everyone, now we can go to the next slide. Now, I'll be talking a little about the program design. We're very conscious of the time of our startups. We know that, most of you are already executing your ideas. You're at different stages. Some of these are advanced startups. So it's a priority for us not to waste any of your time. So this is not a training heavy program. We know that your priority is to execute your idea. So the program is designed in a way to respect your time for execution. There will be specific slots for mentorship and talking with the subject matter experts as well. And there will be weekly sessions on specific topics. We'll be using an online platform. So on this platform, we have a very efficient scheduling tool, similar to Calendly, which I'm sure you're familiar with. So you'll be able to schedule the meetings with us, with mentors and our experts as well there. So we're hoping, that will be pretty efficient as well. And we know that every startup is at a different level and every startup has different needs. So it's not one approach fits all solution that we have here, but rather we're going to try to customize the program as much as possible to the needs of our different startups as well. And we'll be using this platform, online platform, instead of using different digital tools for communication, for scheduling, for following the weekly deliverables and all that. So all of that will be in one place, which will be very convenient as well. And finally, we'll be having a weekly mentoring sessions as well. Yep, maybe we can go to the next one. So let me talk a little about the selection process as well. There were questions about how many rounds there were. There are 2 rounds. The first round is, as you know, which you've, most of you have applied, is on F6S. This is for us to understand the relevancy of the application, whether, your topics, your projects, your ideas are relevant to these 2 calls that we have, and whether you've provided enough information as well. Right now, we're selecting these, and some of you who've already applied might have received an invitation to go to the next round, which is on our Accelerator app platform. Here we'll be looking at your idea, your team, your product market fit, your product readiness and commercialization level as well. And then the final teams to move to pre-acceleration will be selected at the end of this round 2. So after that, for each call, 20 startups will be selected to our pre-acceleration program, which will be 4 weeks, at the end of which there will be a pitch day presentations. And here, besides the initial selection criteria we looked at, we're also going to look at your impact and fit, meaning your impact to these, our partner countries and globally, and also your fit with the program as well, and your coachability too. After that, 5 startups from each call, meaning a total of 10 startups, so 5 for digital agriculture and 5 for financial inclusion, will move on to the accelerator program, which will be 6 weeks long, at the end of which we'll have the demo day presentations as well. Here in the acceleration program and in the demo day, we'll also look at your implementation plan, how sound it is and how feasible it is, because right after this we'll be having the implementation in Uganda and in Bangladesh, and out of each cohort 1 or 2 startups will be selected to go on to the implementation phase, to go ahead and to implement their solutions in these 2 countries. So we can move on to the next one as well. So this is basically the application rounds. The round 1 is on App Success, and round 2 is on our platform and accelerator app as well. So we'll be answering your questions right now, but let me maybe go back, because I've also seen some questions related to the topic areas as well, and maybe clarify that a little bit. If you're unsure whether your idea fits one of these calls, either financial inclusion or digital agriculture, if you haven't already done so, please go ahead and read the descriptions on our website, sdgia.org. You will see that since this is our program has a deep focus on the sustainable development goals, it's also good to look at whether your idea is supporting any of these SDGs. For financial inclusion, do not assume that your solution necessarily has to be a fintech solution. As long as your solution is supporting the livelihood of people in Bangladesh and globally, that's important. And we have other, let's say, priorities under financial inclusion as well, such as women equality, women inclusion, access to health services, and also credit to small and medium enterprises as well. So do not limit yourself and stop yourself from applying. Make sure you explain your idea well to us. So we'll take a look at that and see if your idea is relevant to our call or not. There was another question on digital agriculture. So how digital it needs to be as well, an AgTech solution. Obviously, there needs to be some technology, but if your idea is supporting, farmers in Uganda and other countries as well, and if you have a plan to use technology at a certain point, but maybe currently it is not feasible to use technology for cost reasons or other reasons, but at least in future phases, you have a plan to use technology, please go ahead and apply and explain that to us as well, how you're going to be using technology. So we'll definitely will be taking a look at that and evaluating that as well, because we don't support using technology just for the sake of using technology. It needs to make sense as well. maybe right now it's not feasible, but soon it might be feasible and might make sense as well. So with that, over to you, Ece, to answer any more questions that might have come while I was speaking.
Yes, actually, there is one thing that we didn't mention. Someone was asking how they can apply, resubmit. You can check our website, sdgia.org, for call details. We are getting first applications, as Mehmet shared, through the F6S website, but it's better to go through our social media accounts. You can reach our call links or through our website, as I said. So there are repetitive questions about the grants. I think just I can start with replying those. One question was how many teams will get the $1,500,000 grant. So 10 teams for each call who are accepted to acceleration will get this grant, and this grant is equity free. And for the implementation phase, there were questions. The implementation phase may be in kind of an investment or grant. It will be clarified throughout the program how our strategy will evolve. But for the acceleration phase, and the grant is totally equity free. This $15,000 grant is totally equity free.
Mm-hmm. So let me continue from there with the questions. So you don't need to be an incorporated company, so that's okay. So you can be a startup who has not incorporated yet, so that's not a prerequisite. That was one question that was coming. And also there was a question whether you need to have customers already. That's not a prerequisite either. Obviously, it's always a good thing to have, so we'll be taking a look at that. So we're even accepting some local idea stage startups as well. So that was also another question, whether you can apply if it's just an idea stage. Only if you're from Bangladesh or Uganda, yes. So any other idea stage startups from other countries, it will not be feasible to continue with this program, because as we've mentioned before, implementation in these two countries is very critical for us. And an idea stage startup from another country, I think the timing is not enough to go ahead with implementation. But if you're an idea stage startup from Bangladesh or Uganda, please apply, because we have a specific quota for you guys as well.
And there was one more question about the grant. I always go back to the grants. They're asking, is it cash grant or any technical support? It is cash grant. It's in form of cash, not technical support. You will of course receive technical support and mentoring, but it's not included in this amount. This is cash. So would you like to go through, or I can go with maybe another one? There was another question about the application process. Have we already completed reviewing the applications? No, we started them, and we are so happy to share that they're very high quality startups, and it's a difficult process for us. We are doing the initial screening, but still we haven't completed even the first phase of screening. So please apply. You have time until 31st of January, but sooner is better, so we can start evaluating your applications as soon as possible. Mehmet, would you like to continue?
Yeah. Another question was whether only one or two startups will be chosen to talk to impact investors. That is definitely not the case, because as soon as you're involved in our program as early as the pre-acceleration, you will be exposed to investors, potential investors in our network. Obviously, your communication with them there is going to determine a lot of things. So it's not that the finalists will be, let's say, introduced to investors. So depending on your idea, you might get an opportunity even if you're not selected for implementation.
Okay. There are a few questions, actually, Mehmet already replied, but I should maybe mention again. You can be working on agriculture, But if you don't have technology in it, it can be inclusive too, but just, you know, as I said, technology innovation is a core part of our program. So if you don't have innovation technology in our process, or, you know, what you're doing, you wouldn't be eligible for our call, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. So another question was, that they would like to move to Bangladesh for the implementation, whether this is supported or not. So as you know, the grants of $15,000 are given to the teams who are accepted to the acceleration phase. So this amount could help you with that. But that also depends on the restrictions with the pandemic as well. So this year we have, the majority of our program is online, but as soon as the travel restrictions are lifted, we'll also organize field visits to these two countries as early as the acceleration period, if that is possible, if not during the summer with the implementation as well.
There is a question: by financial inclusion, do you mean inclusion of women only, or every sort of inclusion of people like teenagers or else? Definitely it's not women only. Unfortunately, women are usually really excluded from the financial system, but we are not targeting only women. It is any disadvantaged group of people who are not reflected in the financial system. So please feel free if you have an idea on financial inclusion.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Another question was, does financial inclusion apply in Uganda? No, financial inclusion is for Bangladesh specifically. So only if you're working on a solution for digital agriculture, that would be Uganda.
There are a few specific questions about the application period. In round 2, we started sending some round 2 emails. You will have to have a video uploaded. There's a space for uploading your video. Because of COVID, many of the team members are distributed. We know we cannot come together, but like if you can make a Zoom call and record it, it will be fine. But still, if you even have difficulties with the internet and cannot do that, we will be doing, as the accelerator team, we will be doing one-on-one interviews further through the evaluation process. So you will have the opportunity to connect with us and tell more about yourself.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so as you know, even if the solution is not digital in financial inclusion, are we still eligible? Obviously, we'd have to understand the specifics of your call as well, but we're definitely looking at technology solutions too. So do not limit yourself if you're saying that your solution is not digital, but like I said, with digital agriculture, if in the coming stages you're planning to use technology, please explain that in your application as well, because that is important.
Okay, there are various questions about the MVP. I have an MVP, I don't have an MVP. Just Mehmet already mentioned, but maybe one more time to clarify. Having an MVP is good. You can have even an advanced product. If you already applied, you may have seen that we have that on our list. Just if you have a developed product, an advanced product, it means that it will be easier for you to implement locally your product if you're selected for the implementation phase. So it's a good thing. No, it's not a bad thing that you already have a product. But for the idea stage, as Mehmet said, locals with the ideas will be selected for the call. And MVP is enough for actually applying for the call, I would say.
Mm-hmm. So can a startup that is neither digital agriculture or financial inclusion apply? Well, you'd have to be in one of these areas to apply, regardless of which country you're coming from. So your project idea, your startup idea should fit in one of these areas. And again, what does digital agriculture mean? That is agriculture technology solutions. But like I said before, even if you're not using technology right now, you should have a plan to use it and explain it for coming phases as well. And also, if your solution has both elements of fintech and agtech, you're saying that our solution can be relevant for both calls, go ahead and apply to both calls. So we're not going to merge and integrate them because these are two separate calls, and these will have two separate cohorts as well, even if there are synergies. So you're either going to be in digital agriculture or in financial inclusion.
Okay. There are a few people asking about, can they take place in the program as individual? Yeah, when we say team or to be founders of startups, of course that covers individuals, but as a startup to be successful, it's good to have co-founders, you know, people that you trust. So if you're applying as an individual, your team mark, you know, just Mehmet just shared how we are going to grade your applications. The total grade that you will get from team probably will be weaker when compared to strong teams. But still, this doesn't mean that you can apply. Please apply.
Mm-hmm. And there was also another question, when the round 2 begins. It has already started. So we're evaluating the applications on F6S. So we've already invited some of these. So if you're selected, you know, you may get a link by the end of January. So beginning of February as well, you might still get a link to the second round as well. So it's still not too late for that.
There's a question on the criteria. What is meant by IP transfer in that context sentence? I think this is from the slide, who can apply. This means that you may be working on a technology, but you don't want to turn that technology into an end product and sell direct to B2B or B2C to directly to customers, but you want to have the intellectual property and sell it to any big company for production, etc. So this is also eligible. You know, if you have a model like this, this is also eligible for our call.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I mean, you do not need to have you know, anything in IP. That was just one of the, let's say, options. So it's not a selection criteria, just to, you know, make that clear. And there was also, you know, questions on the number of co-founders and whether an individual can apply as well. An individual can apply. There's no ideal number of co-founders. So that depends on the project and also the co-founders as well. But of course, we believe that having a team is important. So at a certain point, even for individuals, you need to form a team as well. So yeah, that's on the team. And
a question connected to this. By the way, it's good that we are thinking the same, Mehmet, about this founders thing. Is there are not a right number of founders? There's a question asking, you know, what is the right number of founders for a team? You know, there are a lot of research on this, but there is no one right truth. So just, I think just you shouldn't spend so much time on that. And there is a question about, can the application deadline be extended? We recently had an internet shutdown in Uganda. Yeah, we heard about it and we know that you're having problems. But the first phase, it's easy to apply through F6S and you still have plenty of time until the midnight 31st. We extended the call once, so it's impossible for us to extend it again. And we don't want to postpone our program. So please apply through F6S. I think just, you know, we started receiving it. There was a break, but now we are receiving applications from Uganda. So I think people can access F6S nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there was a question on when the second round closes. Please apply as soon as possible, because the earlier you submit your application, I think we believe it's more advantageous, so we can have more time to evaluate it. As you know, the deadline is the 31st of January. So we will not be accepting new applications to round 1 and if success, after that date. So we'll be asking you to, if you've already received the second round application, to finish that by the end of January as well.
Okay. When do we expect the results for the applications? As we mentioned a few times, we started evaluating the results. So we are slowly getting back to you. So you will be getting a result. You'll be hearing from us very soon. Mm-hmm. We are starting from the first applicants, first come, first served. So please be quick to apply if you want to get a reply back soon.
Mm-hmm. It might be
there's a question that I like, by the way. Sorry, Mehmet, I like these female questions. Are we required to have a female co-founder? Any startup with a female co-founder, I believe, is much stronger than a totally male group. But this is totally my personal interest. So no, you don't have to have a female co-founder to apply for the call. Yep.
So we're coming back to the earlier question you answered, Ece. Our idea is to finalize the selection by the end of February. So by beginning of March to announce the 20 teams for digital agriculture and 20 teams for financial inclusion. So that's because in March we'll have the pre-acceleration program start mid-March. So please follow the dates as well on our website, but we'll be communicating to you as well.
Okay, so now there are some questions directed to our partners. So I would love to give the floor back to Evrim. They can continue with the questions to partners, and then if we still have time, we will be here replying your questions.
Thank you very much, Ece. Actually, we have one question. It's saying, is it possible we could hear from the team in Uganda to discuss their approach to digital agriculture? So Maxwell or Willie, would you like to answer?
Thank you, Evrim. Of course, I think part of our motivation for these going for digital culture is to make sure that we harness the power of ICT, just like we have done in different sectors. And so we thought that even in agriculture, we could leverage this. And there are many, the thoughts that we have in our heads are many. And we would expect that the innovators would be able to put their own approaches so that we can appreciate. But we're looking at a number of things. One of them is even from the downstream to upstream, right from the level of the farm to the market itself. We think that there are many opportunities in between there where ICT or digital technology can be leveraged. For example, in terms of connecting farmers to the market. How can this be done? In terms of supporting these refugees who are small-scale farmers within their community, and also how they interface with the host communities. How can the role of ICT play a role in this? And also, on the other hand, at the farm level, issues of data, weather forecast. I believe that the ICT can have a big role to play there. The choice of commodity to be planted by the farmers can be a huge thing, and also in terms of climate variability, how can ICT play a role in helping farmers to be conscious of issues of climate, for example, when the rainfall is predicted, when the drought is predicted, so that it can influence the choice of the commodity that can be planted by the farmers. So we're looking at all this, but again, like I said, it's pretty much open. We don't want to box ourselves into a corner. Surprises can come from you innovators, and we're very much open. But these are some of the things that we're looking at so that we can be able to address the issue of food and nutrition security. I don't know, Willie, are you there? If you want to say something to this effect, Willie? Dr. Willie Fono?
Yes, thank you very much, Doctor, for that insight. You have actually opened the way to what I wanted to say, that really technology, ICT, is going to help us in leveraging most of the challenges that we face with agriculture. You have highlighted the climate change, things to do with the drought, market information services, and generally extension services. And you'll find that the number of our extension staff, the ratio to the farmers is quite large, and it is only through ICT that we can have this kind of information gap bridged within a short spell of time, and also effectively using the information that is available in the different sites, and also networking. So ideally, from the different innovators, we feel we can tap into this to help us overcome these challenges. I submit.
Thank you very much for the answers.
Question was on the main goal of implementation, whether this is just for a proof of concept. That really depends on your level too. So it could be a proof of concept in your case, but it could be something more advanced for another startup. So our idea is to get implemented as soon as possible to, finalize in a product. So yes, proof of concept is just one of these options. So hopefully, because there's uncertainty with the pandemic, assuming that we'll be able to travel and the restrictions will be lifted by July, then would have you meet with the local institutions and your target beneficiaries and your customers, and then according to your implementation plan, which will be helping you design during the acceleration program, if you're selected there, you'll have a plan for the 4 months from July to October, how you would implement it, what kind of support you would need from the local partners. So that approach will be customized to your needs and to your product as well. Also, maybe we haven't mentioned it as well, but there's a plan to do a systems mapping exercise too, the results of which will hopefully be ready by the time of acceleration. So you'll know exactly for both countries what kind of institutions, partners, and stakeholders are available who hopefully will be able to help you in implementing your solution.
Okay, there is a very specific question, but I'd like to take this question to give a general information about the call. Is there a need of a license to receive payments in Bangladesh like in Turkey? Actually, I don't know if we will be able to answer this question here now, but the main idea about having the local support when you're implementing your solution in Bangladesh and Uganda is exactly on these kind of questions. We may not have the answer, but definitely the local partners will have the answers and support you throughout the process when you're implementing. By the way, we say implement a lot, but I mean, if you're accepted the pre-acceleration program, you will be in touch with the local partners starting from pre-acceleration process and throughout the acceleration. If you're not selected for implementation, this doesn't mean that you don't have the local support. Of course you have it, but of the ones selected for the implementation will have higher level of that, you can say.
Mm-hmm. Also, there was another question on when you apply, you might be working on your MVP, so you haven't really mentioned that. And in a couple of weeks, maybe you'll have your MVP ready. Obviously, you can only apply at your current stage, whatever stage you're at. But if we go to the next round and if we get a chance to have an interview with you to understand the specific details, then obviously in that interview you can explain to us what the MVP is.
Okay. There is a question, should I give updates on the prospects of our project? For example, how much market is being lost or how we are needed very much? Definitely, please, when you're filling the form, we are trying to keep the form simple. But we receive some applications that are even simpler than our form. So it's so difficult for us, if you don't put sufficient information in the form, then we have difficulty in evaluating your application. So please share any detail that you find valuable when you're describing your product and your market and why your startup is important, how critical the problem you are solving.
Mm-hmm. I think we covered most of the questions. I'm just trying to see, but it looks like, we've covered most of them. There are, still maybe a couple of them who are not sure whether, their ideas are applicable to our calls. Obviously, some of you have briefly described what your ideas are, but with a paragraph, it's difficult for us to judge whether it's relevant or not. I would hate to say, no, this is not relevant, where, maybe it might be relevant. So if you really want to be part of this program, I would ask you to, take the time and apply on F6S so we can have the full application of your full details so we can better judge whether your idea is applicable or not. So the questions keep coming on whether, there needs to be technology. Obviously, if you're using technology, that is a plus because it's, digital agriculture and, we say fintech and financial inclusion. It's not a must have, but hopefully, you have a plan to apply technology at a certain point. If it's completely, non-technology and you have no plans to use technology, again, we cannot say do not apply, it's not relevant. Would like to add more detail from your application. So please go ahead and apply.
So I would like to give the floor back to Evrim for the questions to partners again. Okay, is Tina with us now? I think she is. Yes, I can see her. There's a question. Would you elaborate the way you define fintech in regard of SDGIA? Actually, some things can be solely IT based. If you please make sure whether you want on-field technologies. So I was again trying to give you the floor to actually give an opportunity to discuss your approach to fintech as Bangladesh. Tina, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Evrim. First of all, I think that, fintech in Bangladesh, fintech also, it kind of relates to or relevant to financial inclusion, right? So it's not just, technology, the technology that we are using for fintech, but also how is it impacting the lives of millions, especially the last mile clients. So from that perspective, if there are platforms who are working with solutions, which is going to embrace and promote financial inclusion, and I know that there are already quite a few these type of platforms who have applied in this program. So if there are these type of solutions where you are embracing financial inclusion, women participations, micro entrepreneurs, things like that, from that perspective, we will consider that as fintech solutions. So there is pure technology-based solutions which can be like payment platforms, things like that. But there is also solutions which will include or embrace and promote financial inclusions.
So thank you very much for your answer, Tina. I'd like to go back to the Accelerator team for their summary, the wrap up of the question and answer session. Mm-hmm. Would you like to share any remarks?
Yeah, thank you, Evrim. I don't know if there are any other questions, Ece, you wanted to answer, just looking at that before we wrap up. Is there anything,
just there are a few about when they will hear back from us. As we said a few times, we started, but you will definitely hear from us. In some accelerators, if you're not selected, your application is somewhat lost. You don't get a feedback, but definitely you will hear from us. Whether you're selected, you passed the round one or not. So just please give us a little bit of more time, because we have a very high number of applications and it takes time. We really want to give enough time for every application. And there are questions about the application criteria, the selection criteria. Mehmet already covered it. Please just, a question is asking how they can tailor their application to pass the selection criteria. Please explain your idea openly, and you don't have to tailor anything. We don't want that. We really want to support your idea as it is. So there is nothing you have to do to tailor your idea. I think that's all from the questions for now.
Okay. Well, thank you for your interest. There have been a lot of participants in this webinar, and I think more will also watch on Facebook as well. We're grateful for the overwhelming interest in both our calls from close to 70 countries now. This is truly a global call, and we hope to work with great startups from different countries, and hopefully, even if you're not selected in other programs as well in the coming years, we'll be able to work with you. So it was a great opportunity to answer some of your questions. Hopefully, we've done an okay job in that. So we're looking forward to your application if you have not already done so. Otherwise, please expect to hear from us soon if you have applied.
Thank you very much for your this question and answer session. It's run pretty well. The backstage was very busy, actually. One doesn't see it once it's running. Now we would like to have a family picture before closing our webinar. But even still before that, from our previous call in 2019, we had our graduates, as it has been mentioned in the introductory speeches. And one of our graduates, actually many of our graduates have yet completed their implementation, but one of them, we have a video that we have prepared to share with you all the interested participants of this webinar. After that, we would like to have a family picture taken, so please don't go away. Ebru, can we put the video on?
SDG Impact Accelerator.
So when we started Gravity, we dedicated ourselves to studying the challenges faced by refugees, other displaced communities, and also the humanitarian organizations and governments that were working towards supporting them. Realized that while our digital identity solution was uniquely placed to empower displaced populations, we also realized how hard it is as a startup to access the humanitarian segment, both in terms of being able to interact with the myriad humanitarian organizations and also the end users, so refugees. For this reason, when we saw the call for applications for the SDGIA, we were instantly motivated to apply to it because it will allow us to have first-hand interactions with both our clients and end users from ideation all the way until implementation. SDGIA provided us with invaluable support from the moment we submitted our application all the way through to when the product was in the beneficiary's hands. Among the different support mechanisms, I would say what we valued the most was all the help that we got in being able to refine our approach to business development through the different interactions that we had with investors, mentors, and even the fellow startups. And secondly, the visibility given to us through SDGIA by allowing us to present our solution at investor events or most importantly, the United Nations General Assembly. And lastly, the SDGIA was very very supportive in terms of facilitating contact with local institutions interested in using our solution, and also providing a lot of background context and support about the local context in Turkey. Yes, we are excited to announce that we just finished our pilot in December. We managed to achieve the outcomes of having beneficiaries use the web app to guide product development. The entire SDGIA program from start to finish had several positive outcomes for our business and our company as a whole. Some of the most crucial learnings for us during this period have been firstly the confirmation of the value proposition for both the beneficiaries, so the refugees, and also for the local implementing organizations. In general, the SDGIA program has helped us to build credibility as a vendor in the humanitarian sector. Secondly, we will be incorporating all the user feedback that we got, both from implementing agents and from the beneficiaries, so the refugees themselves. And lastly, we'll also be attempting to scale the project through continued engagement with the local partners and with other institutions and organizations such as employers or vocational training institutes that show interest in the solution.
And thank you very much for everyone who have participated in the webinar, the preparation and the conduct of the webinar, who have contributed with their speeches, their presentations. And again, another thanks to Dhaka Station for their technical support.